Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the news from SABA satellite channel of Maghreb. Here are tonight's top stories.
Prime Minister calls for a stronger Arab coordination to address regional challenges.
Government condemns the explosion of Houthi mines that killed children in Al-Dala.
Government partners launch a drive to strengthen water and sanitation resilience.
Welcome back. We begin in Mukalla, where the member of the Presidential Leadership Council, Salim Al-Khambashi, reviewed a series of development, economic and tourism initiatives aimed at supporting growth and improving services across the governorate. Al-Khambashi was briefed on progress in a housing project comprising 114 residential units in Mayfa, funded through the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center, and directed local electricity and water authorities to expedite service connections to ensure the units are ready for beneficiaries. He also reviewed preparations for the Badra initiative, a food security and agriculture support project implemented by the KS Relief in Hadramaut and Sugadra to boost agricultural production and improve livelihoods.
On the economic front, Al-Khambashi discussed customs operations and revenue coalition at Mukalla Port and other customs facilities, stressing the importance of improving revenue coalition, strengthening oversight, and facilitating trade and investment. In a related development, he received recommendations from a workshop on Hadramaut's annual Belda season, emphasizing the need to transform the event into a stronger drive of tourism, local economic activity, and sustainable development.
In another meeting with security officials and relevant authorities, Al-Khambashi has stressed the importance of regulating the status of foreign workers across the governorate to ensure compliance with national laws, protect workers' rights, and support security and labor market stability. Al-Khambashi reviewed measures to organize the presence of foreign workers and migrants, including refugees arriving from the Horn of Africa, as well as workers employed in the fishing and import sectors. Discussions also focused on strengthening oversight of maritime entry points and regulating movement through legal procedures, and the status of foreign students enrolled in educational institutions across the governorate. Al-Khambashi said the initiative forms part of broader efforts by the local authority to enhance security and stability, improve coordination among relevant agencies, and ensure that economic and professional activities are conducted in accordance with the law.
Speaker Sultan Al-Barakani held talks with the Speaker of Azerbaijan's National Assembly, Sabiha Gavarova, on the sidelines of the 20th Conference of the Parliamentary Union of the OIC member states in Baku. The discussions focus on strengthening bilateral relations, expanding parliamentary cooperation, enhancing coordination between the two legislative bodies in regional and international forums, and establishing a parliamentary friendship committee to further deepen ties between Yemen and Azerbaijan. Al-Barakani reviewed the latest political, economic, and humanitarian developments in Yemen, highlighting the challenges resulting from Houthi militia's coup and its implications for regional and international security. Meanwhile, Al-Barakani and the Yemeni parliamentary delegation participated in Arab parliamentary coordination meetings where Yemen was selected as a member of the Union's Committee on Human Rights and Women and to strengthen the country's representation in specialized parliamentary bodies.
Prime Minister Shah Zindani participated in the resumed 165th session of the Arab League Council at the ministerial level and the consultative meeting of the Arab foreign ministers held in the Jordanian capital, Amman. Zindani briefed Arab ministers on developments in Yemen and the wider region, outlining the government's vision for peace and the challenges facing Arab states. He warned of the threats posed by the Houthi militia to regional security and international navigation, calling for a more effective Arab and international response to safeguard vital maritime routes. The Prime Minister urged stronger Arab coordination to address regional challenges, protect Arab national security, and counter external interference.
Defense Minister Tahir Al-Uqaili chaired an expanded military meeting in Marib with senior defense officials, commanders of military regions and heads of military departments to review operational developments and current defense priorities. The meeting discussed field and administrative challenges facing military units and as well as measures aimed at strengthening the performance and readiness of the armed forces. The minister stressed the need for greater coordination, discipline and compliance with military regulations while calling for heightened combat readiness across all fronts to respond to potential threats. Al-Uqaili also praised ongoing efforts to modernize the military institutions, highlighting progress in the project to unify the armed forces personnel database, describing it as a key step toward strengthening institution governance and improving military administration.
The Minister of Human Rights has strongly condemned the deaths of 5 children and the injury of 7 others in an explosion caused by a war remnant and landmine contamination in a Raibi village in the Hajar district of Al-Dala Governorate. In a statement, the ministry described the incident as one of the latest tragedies linked to mines and unexploded ordnance left behind the Houthi militia, warning that such devices continue to pose a serious threat to civilians, particularly children. It held the Houthi militia fully responsible for the incident and for the thousands of casualties caused by landmines and explosive remnants of the war across Yemen. The ministry called on the United Nations, the Security Council and international human rights organizations to take stronger action to address the ongoing threat, expand the mining efforts, support victims, and ensure accountability for those responsible.
Commenting on the Houthi militia or crime in Al-Dala, Information Minister Muammar Al-Iryani described the incident as a tragic reminder of the continued threat posed by the landmines and exploded ordnance left behind by the Houthi militia. In a statement, he said vast areas of Yemen remain contaminated with explosive devices that continue to claim civilian lives long after active fighting has subsided. The minister stressed that children remain among the most vulnerable victims of these hazards, noting the required incidents highlighting the long-term humanitarian consequences of landmine contamination. Al-Iryani also underscored the importance of ongoing demining efforts, particularly those carried out through the Massam project, which has cleared large areas of contaminated land and helped protect civilians. He called on the international community and humanitarian organizations to encourage support for mine clearance operations and hold the Houthis accountable for planting landmines in civil areas.
In international cooperation, Minister of Information Muammar Al-Iryani and Charge the Affairs of Chinese Embassy Shaoxing reviewed prospects for expanding cooperation between the two countries and discussed regional developments. Al-Iryani stressed that stability in Yemen serves not only national interests, but also regional and global economic interests, noting that attacks targeting international shipping routes have far-reaching consequences for global trade and supply chains. The minister also highlighted the government's ongoing economic reform agenda, including measures to enhance transparency and combat corruption. For his part, Shaoxing reaffirmed China's support for Yemen's sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity, and reiterated Beijing's commitment to strengthen bilateral cooperation and supporting efforts to achieve peace and stability in Yemen and the region.
Yemen has renewed calls for a stronger coordination among humanitarian and development partners to address growing food security challenges and support sustainable agricultural development. Speaking at the opening of the Food Security and Agriculture Cluster Coordination meeting in Aden, Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Fisheries Salim Al-Sukatri said the closer cooperation between government institutions, international organizations and development partners is essential to tackle mounting pressures on the agricultural sector. The meeting brought together representatives from more than 60 international and local organizations to discuss key gaps and priorities in agriculture, food security and livelihoods. Al-Sukatri highlighted major challenges facing the sector, including climate change, water scarcity, land degradation, and the spread of cross-border plant and animal disease. He said the government is updating national agriculture and food security strategies to respond to evolving needs and to strengthen long-term resilience.
Minister of Water and Environment Tawfiq al-Sharjabi and Minister of Health Qasim Bahibih have launched a national advocacy workshop aimed at strengthening emergency response in Yemen's water and sanitation sector, and promoting integrated water, sanitation and nutrition programs to address climate-related challenges. The workshop seeks to improve coordination between key sectors and mobilize support for essential services. Al-Sharjabi stressed the need for sustainable solutions to water scarcity and climate change, highlighting efforts to expand renewable energy use, improve water resource management, and move from emergency response toward long-term development. For his part, Bahibih warned that climate pressures and the continued influx of migrants from the Horn of Africa are replacing increasing strain on public services, calling for stronger coordination and additional international support. Participants also emphasized the importance of integrated approaches that strengthen water security, public health, and community resilience.
While the government works on building partnerships with key international actors and improving people's living conditions, other entities insist on staying as obstacles to the drive of development and stability. The following report highlights the Southern Transitional Council's attempts to destabilize the liberated governorates and spread chaos across its regions.
Any spark of conflict in the liberated governorates does not remain confined to one area. Its repercussions are felt across every village and city in Yemen because it directly threatens the security and stability Yemenis aspire to. What we are witnessing today is a deliberate reproduction of crisis, as if there are forces determined to keep the state trapped in chaos. Since the formation of the Presidential Leadership Council, with a vision focused on restoring stability, unifying ranks, and ending the Houthi coup, suspicious movements have emerged in Aden, Hadramaut, and Shabwa. These developments suggest clear attempts to obstruct serious efforts to rebuild state institutions. These movements have gone beyond political rhetoric and separatist slogans. They have evolved into actions on the ground, creating security and political crisis in liberated areas. Instead of focusing on urgent economic and services challenges, especially current collapse and deteriorating public services, the state is being forced into side conflicts that only benefits its adversaries. Every internal escalation and every attempt to impose realities outside the framework of legitimacy serves the interest of the Houthi militias. Such actions weaken anti-coup efforts, divide the national front, and give the Houthis greater space to strengthen their influence. More concerning is that these movements are not isolated. They are supported by regional actors seeking political or strategic gains through Yemen's instability. They provide political, media, and financial backing, ignoring the fact that instability in Yemen will not remain contained within its borders. The international community has made its position clear. United Nations Security Council Resolution 2216 affirms Yemen's unity and sovereignty, supports legitimate institutions, and warns that undermining these institutions threatens the chances for a just and lasting political settlement. Confronting the Iranian-backed Houthi project cannot succeed while internal divisions continue to drain the state and weaken the legitimate camp. The central battle remains ending the coup and restoring the state. That requires unity, cohesion, and full support behind the Presidential Leadership Council. Any deviation from this path will come at a cost that all Yemenis will ultimately bear.
Vice-Chancellor for Student Affairs at the University of SABA region, Dr. Ali Ramal, met with Jordanian Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Azmi Mahafza. During the meeting, Ramal highlighted the university's academic achievements, development programs, and future vision to strengthen education quality and scientific research and expand regional and international partnerships. The discussions focused on opportunities for academic cooperation, exchange of knowledge, and capacity building under existing higher education agreements between Yemen and Jordan. For his part, Minister Mahafallah reaffirmed Jordan's commitment to strengthen academic ties with Yemeni institutions, praising the progress achieved by the University of SABA region over the past decade. He also expressed readiness to facilitate new partnerships that support educational development, research collaboration, and the university's growing regional presence.
In Aden, a workshop was held to monitor and counter hate speech targeted women, bringing together women monitors, journalists, activists, politicians, and representatives of civil society organizations. The event, organized by the Peace Track Initiative with support from the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, focused on building participants' skills in identifying and countering hate speech directed at women in digital and media spaces, while exploring effective strategies to address its impact. Speakers warned that online campaigns targeting women are increasingly being used to discourage their participation in public life, peace building, and decision-making processes. Member of the Women's Solidarity Network Advisory Committee, Manal Muhayyam, described the rise in hate speech against women as a growing challenge that threatens social cohesion and limits women's engagement in public affairs. And that brings us to the end of tonight's bulletin. Thank you for watching and have a good time.